Last March, I did my first overnight Parks on the Air activation at Lake Colorado City State Park. I picked this park because a county hunter had emailed me and needed Mitchell County, and it turned out to be an amazing experience, one that really got me hooked on POTA. I spent about 24 hours there, making quite a few contacts. It was my first activation with my FT891, and back then I'd only been back in the ham radio hobby for about 3 months after a 22-year break. This year I happened to have the same days off, so I decided to head back to Lake Colorado City for another overnight Parks on the Air camping trip. I'm out here at Lake Colorado City State Park, and I'm going to do an overnight activation here, and the bands are not in great condition. I tried to make contact with a friend actually a year ago. It was Forrest's first CW contact right here at this location. And I was running a little late today, and I wasn't sure what time they'd let me get to the campsite, so I set up a ham stick at first, and it was running 100 watts, and we could barely hear each other through the noise. So I set up a slightly better antenna, and we were able to have a QSO. The signal reports still weren't great. They were okay. I think I gave them a 549. So even with this antenna running 100 watts, I'm really surprised. So we'll see how we do. I've got a couple plans. I might actually try to do the CWops CWT here at this park. I thought that'd be kind of fun. And I've wanted to do it QRP. So I've got that set up, and I've got about an hour till that happens. So I might try to make a couple contacts, some POTA contacts before I start the CWT. I thought I got the same exact campsite as I got last year, but I'm one over. I guess I messed up on the reservation, but this one was okay. It's a smaller campsite, and I barely had enough room to get my antenna up, but I did get it up. So let me show you what I have set up, and we'll kind of go over what I'm going to be using. So I've got my hex beam, and this is a Buddy hex, and this antenna, I've had it for a while. I've only used it one time, and I've been wanting to use it again. The problem is it just takes so long to set up. It's probably, I think it took me around 40 minutes or so to get it set up. And it's just, there are decent antennas that are much quicker, but since I'm going to be here overnight, I thought I would give it a try, and it should give me quite a few hours to activate on these bands, and then I'll probably put up a random wire later on this afternoon for this evening and tonight. So let me show you the radio setups I got. One thing I do have this time is a Starlink. So I do have some cell service here. It's not great, but this Starlink has been pretty awesome. I've just got it running to the 100 amp hour battery in my camper, and that should run it a long time. So as far as radios, this is my setup. I've got my FT891 that I'll be using. I do have shore power here since this campsite does have AC, so I'll be using the power supply. I do have batteries just in case something happens. I've got my KX2. I think I'm going to try to do the CWT QRP this afternoon with my KX2. I was able to figure out how to do cat control and CW with just one USB cable without using a wind keyer, and it was working at home this morning, so I'm hoping it works this afternoon. So I'm going to try to make some contacts, and then here in about an hour or so I'll be doing the CWT. just wanted to give a quick update. So it's approximately 7:14 p.m. here at Lake Colorado City State Park. It was kind of a rough start to my activation. At first, I was trying to contact my buddy Forrest, KI7 QCF. We were trying to have a QSO exactly a year after our first QSO and his first CW QSO. But I just gotten here and I was trying to get my buddy hex up that you can see right here, but it just takes a long time. So I threw a hamstick on top of my truck on a mag mount, and it wasn't working. I guess there was the conditions were just terrible at first. So I ended up setting the buddy hex up and pointing it to him, and we were able to have a QSO. It was okay. I think I gave him a 549. And then I activated briefly with my KX2, and then I did the CWops CWT, the 1900 CWT with my Elecraft KX2. I just figured out how to connect it to my computer and N1MM with just one cable, which was nice. So I got that working, and I made 32 contacts at 5 watts. So not terrible, not great, but it was decent. I was expecting more with this antenna, but I did get a few DX stations on there, you know, and I felt bad. I had to repeat my call sign a few times, so I probably slowed some of those guys down, which isn't ideal. But anyway, it was fairly slow after that. I don't think I made hardly any contacts on 10 meters, 12 meters. I made about 40 contacts on 15 meters. 17 meters was decent. And then I got on 20 meters, and either the conditions got better or more people were home. I made quite a few contacts. Let me take a peek at my logging program here. I think I made about, let's see here. So I made 123 contacts on 20 meters over a couple hours. So that was really good. I've got, you can see the bugs flying around me. They've been here all day. I've got bug spray. It doesn't do anything, so I'm just ignoring them. So I've got the buddy hex set up, so that's good for, you know, 6 meters through 20 meters. And I've also got, you can see my 31-foot pole. I've got a 107-foot random wire that is basically an inverted L kind of sloper. So it goes up the 31-foot mast and then over to some trees. Unfortunately, I forgot my arborist throw line, and I kind of rigged up something else which wasn't great. It didn't weigh enough, so I actually had to kind of get in some mesquite trees to get that wire where I wanted it. And I didn't realize till hours later. I was like, you know, I kind of cut my arm quite a bit, both my arms, but you know, you got to do what you got to do to get a wire up. Wire antennas for me, I get them tangled, and I see these guys on YouTube that get them up really smoothly. I can't. So I'm gonna point the antenna west and see if I can't get into Japan or Australia for an hour or two, and then I'll probably work my way from 10 meters down to 20 meters. And once that slows down, I'll jump on 40 meters. And the good thing about this random wire is I can go all the way down to 80 meters. So we'll see. Well, I'm going to call it quits for the night and try to get a little sleep. I ended up, once 20 meters kind of shut down, I went to 40 meters, got quite a few contacts. And then I forgot about the CWT. They kind of ran me out of 40 meters on my frequency. So I went to 60 meters and I've got 2 or 3 contacts on 60 meters. And I think those are the first 60 meter contacts I've ever gotten. And then I went to 80 meters and got a handful of contacts on 80 meters. And I'll probably get up fairly early in the morning and then kind of work my way up the bands again. I'm supposed to be out of my campsite by noon, so I have a lot of stuff set up, so I might have to start packing up around 11 o'clock tomorrow morning to give myself enough time to get everything packed up and out of the campsite. So I'll be back in the morning. All right, it's about 5:30 in the morning, 10:30 UTC time, and I've got the radio set up again, and I'm going to start on 80 meters and work my way back up. As soon as 20 meters opens up, I'll put up the hex beam again and see if we can't make some contacts on the upper bands. DX station in there, but he was not the strongest. It's approximately 8:45 in the morning. I got on the air around 5:30 local time, Central Time, so it was 10:30 UTC. And I worked a little bit of 80 meters, got like a couple, one or two contacts on 60 meters. And both of those bands I've never activated before, so I wasn't sure what to expect. I was glad to get any contacts on those bands. The random wire seemed to do really well, that 107-foot random wire. It's, at the peak 31 feet, but it slopes down pretty severely after that. But it was getting out great. And what I've noticed on the random wires, it seems like, the signal gets out great, but the reception is not quite as good. I'm constantly getting better signal reports than I'm giving out. And so that just may be something that's inherent with a random wire. I'm not really sure. I've noticed that basically, especially in the low bands, for the whole time I've used them. But still made a lot of contacts with that wire. I got my hex beam up, and I worked 20 meters, made quite a few contacts. But now that the upper bands are starting to open up, I'm just following the maximum usable frequency. And I'll probably go to 17 meters and work my way up to 10 meters. And I hope 10 meters opens up this morning. Yesterday it was not great. So I'm gonna get back on the air. I just called QRT, and I'm gonna start packing up. Operating for so many hours, you mentally you get pretty tired. And so I'm pretty much ready to be done. I'm not really looking forward to packing up the Buddy Hex. It's going to take me a few minutes, but it's a lot easier to take it down than to put it up, I think. But so I'll probably pack up and get on the road. And it's been a really fun activation. Made a lot of really good contacts. The DX wasn't, as good as I've seen before. I probably could have set up my 10-meter Yagi and done a little bit better into Europe this morning, but I didn't really feel like setting up another antenna. But let me turn the camera around and I'll kind of show you how I did. All right, so I mostly use my FT891, and I've got the tuner for the random wire. And I used the KX2 a little bit yesterday when I first got here and did some QRP. But I ended up with a total of 587 QSOs. I probably had a few, duplicate records, but yesterday it was 229, and then today 358. And I did get quite a bit of DX, and a lot of it was on 15, 17 meters, a little bit on 12 meters, and I even got some DX on 20 meters. And I was able to work on 9 different bands, so you can see Did fairly well on 15 meters, 20 meters, 40 meters. And then, you know, a handful of contacts on 80 and 60, 30 meters, 37 contacts. So overall, it's a really fun activation. Got a couple contacts in Hawaii, a few in South America. And then I guess now that I'm looking at the map, the DX was pretty decent. As you can see, really a lot of it was on 15 meters and some on 20 meters, and a handful on 10 meters. So overall, really good. It's a really nice day. The weather has been really good, actually. It was fairly windy last night, yesterday evening into the night, and then by about midnight, it pretty much died down. And this morning's been fairly calm. You know, I did guy the hex beam, and it did very well even in the strong wind. It's hard to kind of use stakes in some of this really hard ground out here in West Texas. I was able to get 2 stakes in, but the third point of the guy, I basically just attached it to my truck.